All right.
We'll start out with that Piro post audio. Check, check, check. Looks good there.
Dave on hold.
All right, roger that. Coming down for a sec. Are we at 2 minutes?
What?
We at 2 minutes?
No, we're almost at 1 minute.
Okay. Yeah, so give me that 30 will be good.
Just the 30?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, give me the 1 minute, 1 minute.
All right, close to close.
Close to close. There you go, guys. You haven't heard that in a while, have you? Close to close. We're close to close. Those were the good old days, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. And 60.
60, huh?
And 30.
All right, let's do this. Shall we?
This is Armed American Radio's Daily Defense.
Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. Because they don't want me to, that's why I do it.
Presented by the National Rifle Association. From the CZ Studios.
They're never going to stop us here.
Here is your host, the loudest conservative voice in America fighting the enemies of freedom, Mark Walters.
Oh, welcome in, guys and gals, guys and dames. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. begins right now here on Garbage Day at the Ranch, the Patriot Mobile Communication and Command Center Ranch. It's all being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Had an amazing conversation with them today. Some of that will likely come out. I don't know, maybe today, maybe tomorrow. But nonetheless, it's great to have you in here with us. We'll be filling your prescription for freedom for the remainder of the hour with our guest, David Codrea. We'll go to David in just a moment. Greg in Dallas, Tejas, how you doing, my brother? Are you looking good up there again today? Good to see you.
Yeah, not too bad. It's hump day. Here we are.
Hump day. I think it's just cool that I can say good to see you on a national radio show, which is kind of cool. Yeah.
Some people don't like my hoodie, but it's all right.
It's an Eagles hoodie.
Let's go, Birds.
Hey, I miss Jimmy's cheesesteaks every day. I miss my Philly pretzels and a good Philly pizza, so I have no problem with that. We are live on Facebook for you, ladies and gentlemen, facebook.com/Armed American Radio if you want to watch the stream. Great production going on with you right now. So facebook.com/Armed American Radio. Please like us over there. Join us. Follow us over there. Greg, I'll let you do the other two that we're up on and talk about the chat and all that fun stuff, and we'll get started.
Yeah, sure. Other places to watch the show are going to be YouTube. Just search for Armed American Radio with Mark Walters. You can head on over to X and find us at AAR Mark. You can head over to armedamericanradio.org or .com. Hit that menu icon, then select your watch live or listen live option. And lastly, if you'd like to join our live chat, just download Telegram, create your profile, and search for Armed American Radio Conversations.
Yeah, and don't forget to subscribe to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. And please do subscribe to us over on social media at Facebook and certainly YouTube, and definitely follow us over on X at AAR Mark. YouTube is easy. It's youtube.com/Armed American Radio. Let's go to David Codrea. David Codrea from the cold Cleveland, Ohio, Lake Effect area. David, how the heck are you, my brother?
Well, it's up to 24, so we're basking in the sunshine right now.
Yeah.
I was telling Greg I'm recovering. I've been out for about a week and a half with a type A flu that's just absolutely knocked me down. So hopefully I won't go into coughing seizures on the hour today, okay?
Well, if you do, just hit the mute button on your mic. We're good. Now, David has agreed to come on camera with us, but we have to do some connecting things that we just didn't have time today. So look for David on camera here, and all of our guests, ladies and gentlemen, by the way, coming up on radio will also be visible for you on these screens over the coming days and weeks ahead. So really cool stuff. David, let's start with a quick story. Let me give a little bit of backstory here, and then I want to play a clip from Jeanine Pirro. Judge Jeanine, you know her, ladies and gentlemen, from Fox News. She's also a friend of mine, and she has been a guest on this program, and we're going to talk about that in great detail, both sides of this issue. But if you recall, a couple weeks back, after the Alex Preddy shooting, Trump had made comments, David, you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't bring a gun to a protest. Why would you do that? We'll talk about that in just a moment with David, get his perspective. And then, of course, Kristi Noem came out, said you can't carry a gun at a protest in about that roundabout way, as did Kash Patel as well. Since that time, they've been called out, those two, Noem and Patel, and they have walked back their statements. Now comes Judge Jeanine Pirro, David, who about 2 days ago made the comment, if you come to Washington, D.C., and I'm paraphrasing, if you come to Washington, D.C., expect us to follow the law. You will be arrested if you carry a gun in violation of D.C. law. I don't care if you have a license from another area. We will arrest you. And here again, it appears somebody from the administration is stepping in it, but she walked back as well. Greg, let's play that clip if we could.
One sec.
Good morning, everyone. I'm here in the office, and some people are concerned about something I said yesterday, so I want to be crystal clear. I am a proud supporter of the Second Amendment. I have guns myself, long guns, handguns, and I'm a proud high-yield gun owner. In fact, I even keynoted an NRA convention. However, you need to be responsible, and every responsible gun owner that I know makes sure that they understand the laws, where they are going, and understand whatever registration requirements there might be. President Trump's goal here, and my goal as well, is to make sure we take guns out of the hands of criminals. There is a reason that we have the lowest homicide rate in recorded history. We're taking guns off the street, illegal guns, in the hands of criminals who want to use those guns to victimize law-abiding citizens. There's a big difference here. You're responsible, you follow the laws, you're not going to have a problem with me.
David, Let's dig into this because there's a lot going on and a lot to unpack. Go for it.
Well, first of all, it's not what she said initially. And what she said was, I don't care if you do have a permit, I don't care if you are a legal gun owner, you bring a gun to Washington, D.C., and we're going to arrest you. Okay? To me, this is a hollow attempt at walking back that does not apologize and does not indicate that she understands what the Second Amendment is all about. And in terms of suggesting that, well, you have to be compliant with the law, and if it requires you to register it, you have to register it, I say no. That's not something I intend to do. I intend to resist. I intend to defy. I will not comply, and I've done that myself. I never ask readers to do anything that I haven't been willing to put myself on the line for. When California tried to require us to register our semi-automatics, I stood in front of a room full of people, including the California DOJ and the NRA Members Council that hosted it, tore up their registration form and said, this is the only form you're going to get from me. Because unless we are willing to defy and resist and go against unconstitutional infringements, then we're just going to keep registering it. And once they have us registered, what are they going to do? They're going to go for confiscation because we know that's what the whole thing is all about. In terms of Jeanine Pirro saying that she's somehow a gun owner and a friend of gun owners, to me, it is just a lie. It is a lie that's proven going back all the way to the year 2000 when she was Westchester County, New York District Attorney. She administered a gun buyback amnesty program. Then in 2004, she joined with New Yorkers Against Gun Violence to commemorate the 5-year anniversary of the Columbine High School massacre by strengthening the federal assault weapons ban. Then all of a sudden she starts going for higher office and starts saying, well, maybe it pays to tout my gun owner credentials, and that's when she went and talked to the NRA Second Amendment Leadership Conference in 2013. But then in 2019, she was back arguing for expanded background checks while asserting, I'm in Australia, they don't have problems like this. This is starting to be a uniquely American situation, followed by the completely unbelievable, I'm a gun owner and strong Second Amendment person. And by the way, if we're going to start talking about her being a gun owner, she starts making these noises in 2006 when she was living with, hadn't divorced her husband yet, who was up for indictment on all kinds of corruption charges, and she's having all these guns under the same roof as a convicted felon. So I'm sorry. I know that Jeanine Pirro has appeared on your program. To me, that is an attempt to just basically have her past and her real impulses concealed and somehow or other curry favor with gun owners who don't understand her real record. And as far as I'm concerned, Mark, she is an authoritarian fraud.
Everything David said, I won't go as far as calling her an authoritarian fraud. I do like her. However, everything David just said is accurate, ladies and gentlemen. And I can promise you, David, you back up with facts. David's got links. There's no writer out there that I'm aware of that supports their position better than you do. This is going to be an interesting hour, ladies and gentlemen. I think here's why. I think you just heard why. Because while I'm not going to push back on David, I want to play devil's advocate and I want to ask some questions. David and I, just for the sake of this conversation, David and I did speak today, but we did not talk about, David, and back me up on this. I did not tell you where we were going to go with this. I mean, you knew what the topics were going to be. Of course, we were going to discuss this topic and a couple others. We'll move on when we get done with this as well. But we don't have anything planned out here. We didn't discuss. In fact, it's always been my deal. Stop. Let's not get this conversation out now because we have a tough time bringing it back to the radio after we've let it out, right? Isn't that true?
Yeah, and you know, on top of that, what we're having right now is we're having a conversation just as if we're sitting across the room from each other, and this is the kind of stuff that we both enjoy.
And it is, ladies and gentlemen, what you're getting ready to hear now. I may disagree with David in some areas. Everything you just said is accurate. But I want to take this over to Judge Jeanine, and I am going to play some devil's advocate, but in the context of asking questions that we have to ask to help you form an opinion. You may believe differently than David does. You may believe differently than I do. When we come back from the break, we're going to dig into it. But what you will hear is a conversation as if David and I were on the phone earlier, and now it's out. And you're hearing it live because we didn't talk about it then. We decided to talk about it right now. There's a lot of disturbing things here.
20.
But are there answers? That's what we'll try to get to the bottom of right after this. Don't go away. Back right after the break with David Codrea, waronguns.com. That's the clearinghouse. We'll be right back with David. You know, mics and cameras are still up.
What?
Our mics and cameras are still up and live. Unless you cut your mic, I can see.
Yeah, no, I'm just talking down line now.
Yeah, and that's interesting because I can see you're muted on here now, so that's part of the feed we were talking about earlier. Good, that works good. I know what I'm looking at on that board anyway. Okay.
All right.
Guys, don't go away.
You know, it's a little interesting that David brings up her husband's conviction and having guns in the house as because isn't that what America is about? Like, if one spouse can't have a firearm, but the other can, at least somebody in the household can defend the household.
We were talking about that in the context of Virginia. Is we're getting there. If you recall that conversation, Virginia Democrats are putting a law and brought back another law that they had that makes even the spouse now.
Yeah, that's right. I remember hearing that.
That was just last month. Guys, we'll be right back. Ugh. There we go. Let me move that bad boy. Little by little, boys and girls. I don't know if that audio was on there or not.
$30. Right by.
Yeah, I just heard that. The following segment of Armed American Radio is proudly being brought to you by the National Rifle Association. Help us defend freedom by visiting nra.org/AAR and join today. Welcome back to the show. Yeah, that's a good idea, ladies and gentlemen. Join the National Rifle Association, nra.org/AAR, nra.org/AAR. We'll talk more about the National Rifle Association over the coming days and some comings and goings and some cool stuff and bring you up to speed with what's happening over there. That'll be over the course of the next couple days, likely probably on the Sunday Monster Cast. Let me not get ahead of my skis here and pull a Pam Bondi. Welcome back in. CZ Studios are lit up for you. The on-air lights are on Garbage Day here at the Patriot Mobile Ranch. This is a Patriot Mobile phone, patriotmobile.com/AAR. Please support the businesses that support your right to bear arms. I don't know of any corporation in America that does it any better than Patriot Mobile. They wear it right there in their mission statement. Please go to the website and check it out. All right? You'll love what you see there from Patriot Mobile. And Greg in Dallas, Danielle Buck will be with us from Patriot Mobile tomorrow. We love Danielle. We'll see what they've been up to.
Oh, yeah, that's great news.
Let's go to David Codrea. David, welcome back, my brother. The clearinghouse for everything David is War on Guns. You can also see him over at ammoland.com. We also have some spots running for them. Please read AmmoLand and all the great work that everybody puts out over there. I've worked with them for many, many, many years. They do wonderful work keeping you informed. David, let me start with this question. Why do you think she felt compelled to say anything at all, particularly after she's very well aware, I know Janine, I know how well aware she is, of the backlash that Noam and Patel faced when they made their comments and were forced to walk it back? Why do you think she felt compelled? Probably not a fair question. I'm asking you to get in her head, but it's legitimate to ask. Why do you think she felt compelled to say anything at all, particularly knowing she might likely have to walk it back?
Why any of them felt like they needed to just blurt stupid stuff out before having time to assess the situation and think about it is just beyond me. These are supposedly seasoned professionals. Mark, you and I, we talk about things all the time, and when's the last time we had to walk something back? Okay, maybe because we understand the issue and they don't really. I think that in cases like Noam and Patel, they were trying to make excuses, but they had to know that this stuff would be followed up on and that the truth will out. And the same with Pirro. I don't know why they feel like they have to be compelled to weigh in on things. I don't know if it's a look, everybody, I'm in charge type of a thing, but think before you speak. And again, Mark, this along with things that we see the administration making decisions on in terms of Second Amendment cases, in terms of rules, in terms of everything else, if they just did what they needed to do with the so-called Second Amendment task force and include, subject matter experts and people from the Second Amendment community as advisors to be able to use as sounding boards before they go public with things, so much of this would just be deflected right from the very beginning, and they wouldn't get into this hot, mess to begin with. And so I can't tell you why she felt compelled to do that, but what she said was so over the top, and she didn't really walk it back. Okay, if you take a look at what she said, she starts making excuses and she starts, deflecting and changing the subject a bit, but she never came out and said, you know what, I was absolutely wrong. I apologize.
Now let me. I'm going to show some deference over to her. She's not in her position, to tell people to break the law, is she?
No, but by the same token, she's not. She doesn't have to sit there and endorse infringements either.
Correct.
There are ways
I
to say things, and there are ways to say things, and there are ways to approach. All this is basically the impetus for this was the shooting of this guy Pretty in Minneapolis, and there are ways to deal with this that don't end up disparaging armed carry by citizens who are peaceably protesting, which is a time-honored tradition. We've been through it ourselves. I was at an armed carry in Oberlin, Ohio several years ago, where the city was violating preemption by trying to ban guns in parks. And a bunch of armed protesters showed up peaceably, okay? And it so shocked the city that they turned around and they ended up, reversing themselves and getting rid of it because they realized they didn't have a legal case to stand on, and the gun owners all behaved peaceably. And I've been personally on the hot end of criticism for this when Ted Rall, he was a leftist columnist, said that armed protesters showed up, they ought to be bundled off to Bagram. This is one case where a stroke of the pen ought to suspend civil rights. And I basically just said, careful, you don't want to do that because we're going to push back, and got attacked by a coalition to stop gun violence, essentially saying that I was out there inciting people to do violence for criticizing us. Okay,
Yeah.
Which is not what I said at all, and totally ignored the fact that they're saying they ought to treat us like terrorists and bundle us off to concentration camps.
Yeah, and you and I were victims on this show of an attack on, I want to say it was Media Matters or something like that. I forget who it was, but they wrote a column about a conversation that you and I had, claiming that I was telling people that they should break the law like I do, because I was breaking the law when I talk about going into Costco armed with a smile on my face. What they failed to tell you in the article, while they did link to the audio, which refuted everything they wrote, by the way, David, which you and I had a chuckle over. That's how stupid they are. They're going to lie about it, and then they put the audio up and didn't edit the audio, so people could go in and actually hear what we actually had to say. But I reminded people that, in fact, I was not breaking any laws. It is not a violation of Georgia law to walk past a sign, even though Costco doesn't have one. I might know in the back of my head that that's their corporate policy, but there's no sign, and it doesn't matter because those signs don't carry the weight of law here anyway. So I was not telling anybody to break the law. I think where Janine and the rest of these, like Bondi, they get out ahead of their skis, you ask a really good question, and that is, when was the last time we've walked something back? Every word I have said on this program for 18 years is available for you on the internet, ladies and gentlemen. I've never edited one syllable of mine ever, and it's all available for you. You can dig back all the way at armedamericanradio.com or search and go back and find whatever you want. We've never walked it back. We may have issued corrections because we said something incorrectly or misread something or misquoted, but that's not what you're talking about. You know, the one thing you left out in your statements is, it goes back to my original question at the start of this segment, they are seasoned people. Janine Pirro's been in front of cameras for most of her adult life. You'd think when she'd know when not to say something. And that this type of response would have happened, particularly on the heels of what happened with Noam and Patel. Now, I do have a theory here that I want to explore with you. It was Donald Trump that made the first statement, David, when he said, you just can't do that. You can't take a gun to a protest. I believe that what Donald Trump was doing, he speaks off the cuff. I'll take us to the break with this, then we'll go back to you. He speaks off the cuff and he says what he wants. And if people haven't figured that out by now, well, guys, I don't know what planet you're living on. That's just Donald Trump. It is what it is. Some of it's intelligent, some of it's not. It's just Donald Trump. It's what I happen to love about him. But he made the comment off the cuff. Guys, you can't do that, referring to Preddy. And I believe he was talking more about Preddy's actions while he was armed than the fact that he was armed. I don't know that Donald Trump is that up on everything enough to even know that's what he was doing or how it would have been inferred. When we come back, we'll go back to David Codrea, have some more questions for him on this, and then we'll go to a couple other topics as well. Interesting conversation. We're talking to David Codrea. Make sure to visit him, read everything he writes. You can go to waronguns.com, or you can go to AmmoLand, but War on Guns is the clearinghouse. We'll be back right after this. All right, guys, we'll be back in about 2.5 minutes or so. We got Greg and I up on screen with you. Where's that repost? Come on, boys. Is the NRA rejoining?
No, Patriot Mobile.
The following segment of Armed American Radio's Daily Defense is being brought to you by Patriot Mobile. Visit patriotmobile.com/AAR and use the AAR promo code to get free activation today. Welcome back to the show.
Yeah, welcome back to the show, ladies and gentlemen. If you're watching, this is a Patriot Mobile phone. You can do the same thing, patriotmobile.com, patriotmobile.com/AAR. Go to the website, read everything they tell you about their corporate mission statements and your right to bear arms. This is an organization that shows up at every pro-gun function they can get to at state level and federal level. Every single one of them at federal, national, meaning NRA conventions, SHOT Shows, etc. They are there with a booth. Guys, they're the real deal. I don't recall the last time I ever saw an AT&T, Verizon, or T-Mobile booth at the Shooting, Hunting, and Outdoor Trade Show or any pro-gun event whatsoever. But they are with you when it comes to your Second Amendment because they're the ones that are there. Read the website, switch a phone over, get a free month, and save up to $5. You get $5 if you still owe $500 on your phone because you have to have it paid off to move it over. They will give you a credit. You won't pay a phone bill for a very long time. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense supports Patriot Mobile, and they support us. You can also find all of our other great partners, including budsgunshop.com, budsgunshop.com. And Crossbreed Holsters, if you're looking up on your screens, that QR code, that's Blackout Coffee. You don't need the code. You can go to blackoutcoffee.com, blackoutcoffee.com/AAR. Take advantage of that. Fill your prescription like I do monthly with a dose of coffee. I'm about out, and I need some more. Greg, I guess let's go back to David Codrea. David, one of the key issues here with me is we wouldn't be in this situation if none of them had said what they said and then got forced to walk it back. But I do want to point this out. At least they were forced to walk it back. They felt that pressure. And at least they walked it back. Or, as you said, Pirro did not. Although, I kind of in a quandary with Pirro because Pirro has to enforce the law. Now, I had a conversation with someone earlier today, ladies and gentlemen, who had asked to remain anonymous. But I will tell you this. It is not Mr. Gottlieb, but it is someone who has an open conversation and an open door in the White House and up to and including the Oval Office. And, David, it's interesting to me because this now ignites the national reciprocity conversation, reignites. The Senate who are using Pirro's comments to do just that. Senate's always a problem, David. Could we see moves on this now? this did open up a can of worms, which, by the way, should have opened up anyway, because they all should have just shut their mouths. Frankly, go ahead.
I don't think we're going to see anything coming out of the Congress. I think that everybody's kind of waiting on the midterms, and we'll see what happens after the midterms. And I hope to God that they haven't been bullied. I know they said the Democrats proven themselves to be absolutely radicals, and yet somehow or other they keep getting elected and winning Virginia and winning other places like this. But, the midterms is an interesting thing, because one of the criticisms I've heard about bringing this up is that we're discouraging gun owners from voting in the midterms if we keep bringing stuff like this up and pointing this stuff out. And, come on, what we're trying to do is we're trying to course correct the administration so that they stop doing this stupid stuff and start, relying on people who want to help them win. Because we realize that Republicans are really the only choice that we have, as flawed as they are. They're not Democrats who are basically communists anymore. And, Mark, I see criticism like one was saying that going after Pirro for saying she can't control guns in Washington, D.C. is an attack on federalism, for goodness sakes. And I'm going, do you have any idea what it is you're talking about?
No.
And how historically ignorant you don't know about William Rawle. This is the guy that Washington wanted as Attorney General. His view of the Constitution was the constitutional law text from Dartmouth and Harvard through the mid-19th century. And what he had to say about this was no clause in the Constitution could by any rule of construction be conceived to give Congress a power to disarm the people. Such a flagitious attempt, which is, look up the word, could only be made under general pretext by a state legislator. But if in any pursuit of inordinate power either should attempt it, this amendment may be appealed to as a restraint on both. So in other words, it doesn't matter whether you're federal, state, municipal, whatever, you can't infringe on the Second Amendment. They knew this back in Washington's time.
Yeah, and this is now this gets back into, guys, you go to the Federalist Papers for a lot of this too. This goes back to the Federalist, Anti-Federalist, and the debate, Constitutional Convention, and all that fun stuff. But I appreciate the quote. Thank you for reading that. I think there's a lot of interesting takes about this, because it opens a conversation, and let's just have it. How far do we go on this side? Okay, they've heard us. I know for a fact they've heard us, and they responded. We shouldn't have to do this, as you said. But I've got to take it right back to the bottom line. We have to. And the question I ask you, ladies and gentlemen, is when they say boneheaded stuff like this, look, we're not going to get anybody perfect, David, that believes in the right to bear arms like we do in Washington ever. And there's a reason for that. Politics and media. They're going to have they have to play politics, and they're going to, and we've seen that. It's disingenuous. It's just the nature of the beast. That's why we don't walk stuff back, and they have to. Which, guys, take the advice. Shut up so you don't have to walk stuff back, because we don't want to have to do this, but we will. But where do we draw the line? At which point? Because you bring up the midterms. Completely legitimate. The midterms right now are critical. Critical. What they need is us on their side, not against us. But here's another underlying point that I want to have, and I'll just turn the mic over to you. Would you rather have a Democrat? Now, I'm asking rhetorically, David, not to you specifically, but I'm just asking a rhetorical question. Would we rather have a Kamala Harris regime and a Kamala Harris AG and a Kamala Harris Supreme Court? The answer to that is clearly no. So this is why this frustrates us, ladies and gentlemen. David, go ahead.
And this is why it frustrates me when the administration has all these self-inflicted wounds that get everybody at each other's throat and talk about, well, we'll never have a perfect politician. About the best one we have, Trump is out there trying to destroy, and that's Thomas Massie. And the petty attacks and childish attacks I see against Thomas Massie, well, he's a rhino. He doesn't vote Republican. He votes Republican more than just about anybody in the Congress. And the bottom line is it's absolutely personal for Trump, and he's trying to destroy this man who, as far as I'm concerned, is probably the best congressman we have in the system, particularly when it comes to the Second Amendment.
Yeah, as far as absolutists are concerned, there might be maybe one other, but I think you're right about that as far as Second Amendment is concerned when it comes to Thomas Massie. And as far as the political infighting, this is what's no good for any of us. Yeah. This is where Trump makes mistakes, I believe. While I love the man, I love everything he's doing. Everything he's doing is what I voted for. We have these missteps that require shows like this, columns like Stephen Gutowski's, commentary and pushback from the National Rifle Association, the GOA, etc. That's all good that we're there to do that. Jared Yanis is all over it. I asked Jared to come on the show today, but he's out doing the Bourbon Trail, which is more fun than this show, I can tell you that. So I hope he's having a great time, but that's business. But the pushback is real, and we know they're watching. Harmeet Dillon has responded to his stuff. We know they listen. Okay? Yes, I'd rather have this administration, of course. But we don't want to have to push back. So my advice to anybody that's listening is please stop doing this stuff. All right, this doesn't help anybody as we get closer and closer to the midterms. And David, I think you'll agree, the last thing we need now is alienation among our own ranks where gun owners are concerned. We've got enough to worry about in Virginia. We've got enough to worry about if the House and Senate flip. We don't know what's going to happen in 2028. This is distractions we don't need, boys and girls, in what is, no doubt, the most pro-gun administration in my lifetime. Maybe you would disagree with that, but I'll stick to my guns, pun intended, on that one, David. Take us to the break, would you?
No, I agree.
It doesn't make sense. So David's I agree is perfect because we're going to a break. When we come back, we'll continue the conversation. Other things to talk about. This is a fascinating one. I could go on for 2 hours with you on this, and we could really get into the weeds. Unfortunately, time gets away from us. So David, when we come back, I'll ask you to make any points that maybe we haven't yet gotten to, and we'll close this one out. I'll give you the final word on that. I owe you that. You're an OG, brother. David Codrea is an OG, guys. He's been on this program since its inception, and we really appreciate him and love him. I hope you enjoy. Well, I know you enjoy it because I see the comments and I get the emails. So when we come back, we've got one more segment with the great David Codrea on a Wednesday. We'll be closing out your garbage day here in just a few moments. Back right after the break. Take this time. Visit our sponsors if you would. Purchase something from them. Get the MyPillow slippers I'm wearing from Mike. Okay? They're beautiful. I wear them every day, particularly this time of year. Back after this. Should be at 30 here soon.
$30.
This segment is brought to you by Attorneys on Retainer. Get the only self-defense program for gun owners backed by a real law firm, the Attorneys for Freedom. Visit them online at attorneysonretainer.us. Welcome back.
Welcome back, guys. If you're watching, I'm holding up my card. If you're listening, trust me, I'm holding up my card. The video's out there. You can go see it. I'm not bully gigging you. It's a fact. Here it is. Attorneys on Retainer. It's got my name on it. This is my card. I'm a member. My son has one. My wife has one. My daughter has one. My dad has one. My mom has one, and others. Guys, if you carry a gun, please put this in your pocket. Please put this in your pocket. I got a Facebook notification from a guy 5 days ago that was arrested in what was a domestic incident, and firearm was involved, and it's a mess. It's an absolute mess. Guys, you do not have to be in that position. Now, if you are a member, pay careful attention. In Phoenix, Arizona, the 18th through the 23rd of this month, I'll be moderating a panel at the AAR convention at the Center. If you remember to go, come see me, Jared Yanis, Heavy Duty Country, AAR Hawkins, Ryan Petty, Alan Gottlieb, Kwong Win, and many, many others who will be there. If you like all those influencers that you see online, many of them are going to be there. Come shake our paws, but you got to be a member. It's only $37 a month to have up to 4 lawyers in your hip pocket if, God forbid, you have to use your firearm and get charged with a crime. And lo and behold, what you just heard Janine Pirro say, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, they defend you in a situation like that. All right? Keep that in mind. I'm not telling you to break the law. I'm telling you do what you do and have an attorney in your pocket when you do it. Understand that to be the case. Attorneys on retainer.us/AAR. All of our great partners, you can find them all at armedamericanradio.com. Please pick up some Blackout Coffee, our newest partner, and we'll be announcing another one coming up next week. David Codrea, welcome back in. I'm going to give you the final word, brother, on this whole thing, because I think there are some bottom lines here. Yes, this is the most pro-gun administration in our lifetimes in American history, if you go back and do the math, and I will stand by that. Number one. Number two, they should not be opening their mouths under these conditions with an administration that has come out as so pro-gun. This just does not look good. And then we have to push back, which we do. We get retractions. Those are bottom lines. They got them. They did them. Whether we like all of them or not, including Judge Pirro's, at least they came back to clarify. That would have never been done in a previous administration. I think we're in agreement. We'd rather have this administration than a Democrat one. Having said all that, I'll turn it over to you, and then we'll move on to a couple of your articles real quick.
I just wish they'd quit contradicting themselves, because Janine Pirro also happens to be the face of the opposition to my Freedom of Information Act request turned into a lawsuit to attempt to get the Justice Department to define for us the criteria that it uses for restoring rights, which the administration has made great hay of. And Pirro and U.S. Attorney John Pardo have argued in the Justice Department's answer to our December 19th, or to our complaint that they filed on December 19th, basically saying no response is required. Plaintiff is not entitled to compel production of any record. Court lacks subject matter jurisdiction, and plaintiff is neither eligible nor entitled to attorney fees, and plaintiff's request is improper to the extent it is unduly burdensome. So it's unduly burdensome, and my question is, why do gun owners even need a FOIA request and a lawsuit to find out what they need to do to have their rights restored by a quote-unquote pro-gun administration? Why won't they just tell us?
That's a great question. I don't know that we'll ever get the answer. I will tell you this, though, ladies and gentlemen, you know, as an Armed American Radio listener and as someone who values your rights, your constitutional rights and your freedoms, and, you know, I don't know about you guys, but I have my copy of the U.S. Constitution right here. It stays with me here. I read it every day. This thing's kind of beaten up, and it's got a lot of highlight marks in it and everything else, and I would hope that you have one as well. So if you don't, make sure you can pick one up. You can get them free all over the place, but have one. David, and the reason I say that is because, guys, and AWR has a piece up, I think, over at Breitbart. If I scan the headlines and remember correctly, all gun control is immoral. All of it should be gone. Every single bit of it should be gone. And then we could, of course, take it all the way back, David, to quotes like yours, go back to the Federalists, Anti-Federalists. We just don't have time to do it. But I'll leave it at that. Ladies and gentlemen, guys, stop making stupid, boneheaded comments out there, okay? It's really simple. If you shut your mouth, nothing happens. Good heavens. It's not that hard to figure that out. David, what is going on? And I'm going to tell you now, honestly, I headline surfed on this. You have a piece up about Amazon cutting off Second Amendment author from being able to sell his book. Will you explain that, please? It's a piece dated back to January 12th.
Okay. Basically, let's see. What are we talking? Oh, David E. Young.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hold on a second. Here comes my cough.
There you go.
Boy, I managed to make it through the whole program without that.
As long as you're not choking on peanut butter and jelly like Ryan Petty does on the show sometimes.
I don't know if you've ever met David Young. I finally had a chance to meet him in person at one of Alan Gottlieb's Second Amendment conferences. And he's an author, amateur historian, so to speak, and he's written some landmark books, The Origin of the Second Amendment and The Founders' View of the Right to Bear Arms. And basically, Amazon has cut off the ability for him to sell his work on Amazon. You can only get used copies. You can't get new copies. And so basically what this does is this cuts him off from selling his work. And we're not just talking about some guy that's, got a garage full of books that he published on a vanity press and now he's trying to unload them. We're talking about a guy whose work has been cited 6 times in Justice Anton Scalia's majority opinion in the U.S. Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. versus Heller case, cited twice in the Circuit Court of Appeals case to document individual rights, nature, and protection afforded by the Second Amendment. So this is real knowledge. This is real research. This is real history. Okay, we're not talking about some slouch hack. We're talking about recognized authority now being denied the ability to be paid for his extensive original scholarship by the largest online commerce platform on the planet.
You just took my thunder, because I was just going to ask you, what is the world's #1 leading seller of books? It's Amazon.
Yeah, and the left keeps saying, well, the right is censoring books. No, we're not. We're saying as parents that we object to you guys using public school libraries to groom our kids. Mm-hmm. But if you still want the book, you can get it on Amazon. All right.
Right. It's a First Amendment, Second Amendment issue. It is mind-boggling. It really, truly is mind-boggling, David. Just when you feel you're making some headway, you get a setback. We get distracted because we have to get out of our I don't want to talk about this stuff, but I don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Look, I expect the politics is where we get into this, and we're going to run out of time. And that's what I hate about only having 1 hour, because I have so much I could cover with you. Maybe we can bring you back on Sunday's Monstercast. I'll talk with you after the show about that. Ladies and gentlemen, I do apologize. Time gets away from us here. It always does. It is no doubt the fastest hour in all of radio. It's incredible. That's why I tell you, and I warn you, buckle in. Time flies right by. David, where can people find you real quick?
War on Guns. Yeah, we didn't get a chance to even bring up New Mexico, did we?
No, we did not. Now, I'm going to tell you this. I do have a half hour open tomorrow. I'll talk with David after the hour today, if we can bring him back in, if it works for his schedule. If not, we'll talk about bringing him in on his schedule permitting on Sunday's Monstercast. David, we have a lot to talk with you about, and I'm glad you're feeling better and all that great stuff. Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to get up and do it again because they don't want us to. Well, too bad. That's why we're here. Another thing I wanted to talk with David about, if we can get him in tomorrow, is the Giffords issue and how they walk that stuff back. So a lot of fascinating stuff going on out there right now, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure to check out waronguns.com. That's where you can find everything David writes. And over at AmmoLand, in addition to that, armedamericanradio.com. And buy something from our great partners that make it all possible to bring you this program. I had 3 things delivered today from one of my partners that we'll be talking about coming up in the next week, and the bottles were broken, and I'm really bummed about that. But they sent me brand new ones immediately. Gotta love it. Armed American Radio will get up and do it again tomorrow. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. We'll see you on the radio. Thanks for being here.
just filled your prescription for freedom with Mark Walters, presented by the National Rifle Association. The National Rifle Association on the Armed American Radio Network.
All right, boys and girls, thanks for being here. Appreciate it very much. Boys and girls, that's all there are. Our boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what the left tells you, we're one or the other. Pretty much that simple. We're going to be back tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. Danielle Buck from Patriot Mobile will be here. I'm going to reach out to David. Hopefully we can bring him back in. I might want to push that to Sunday. I don't know. We'll figure that out because I have more than a half hour. As you know, time just books right along. So we'll see what we can do with David on the schedule. I need to get him back. There's a couple issues that we didn't get a chance to talk with him about that I really want to hear his perspective on, and one of those is Giffords and the comments that they made about now believing that the Second Amendment's a fundamental right and all this big joke. Either way, stay safe out there, guys. Get attorneys on retainer. Join the National Rifle Association. Get some coffee. Get something from Buds. Buy something from mypillow.com/AAR, and please support these businesses. It's stuff out there right now for everybody. Support the businesses that bring this voice to you every single day. Now, almost 18 years in. April 27th marks the start of our 18th year. Couldn't do it without them. Please support them all. ArmedAmericanRadio.com. Enjoy your day. Stay safe. See you on the radio tomorrow. Thanks for being here.